10 hours, you have a brand new genre full of bugs. There's money there.
It's just one day toy.
Have you ever tried programming? You're like, I just want to try that one challenge.
Yeah, maybe a few big fucking guns.
Geez, well.
Legendary game designer, John Romero.
Yeah.
My name is Nikita. I'm founder of RUVDS.com.
All right.
And today we are in St. Petersburg together with John Romero.
Hello.
John, glad to see you here
Thank you.
at Tech Train.
Yep, it's been great.
Today, a lot of people here are talking, as well as you, about coding and development.
Yes.
And here you have a long story of your own. I read from one of your interviews that you said that in 2001, when you had taken a look at your code made in 1991, you find it very hard to use. And then, after some period, when you return to your code made in 2001, you find it not bad.
Yeah.
How do you evaluate code quality?
The code was written like half an assembly language in 1991. So it wasn't, and I had just started programming in C, so I was brand new programming in C. So coming back to that after spending 10 years more programming in C, is horrible.
And which evaluation parameters change over time and which are not?
Well, like the entire environment that the code ran in was completely different. So the code in 1991 ran in DOS, and the code in 2001 was running in Windows.
So it was a time a new platform, I think.
Brand new platform, yeah.
Can you divide some main criteria should take into account when you review your own code?
Is it easy to understand? That's really important. Does it have some comments? It shouldn't be too commented because then that gets boring. But does it have enough comments for the tricky sections? And is the structure, does the structure make sense and is it easy to add to? The way to keep bugs really, really low when you're programming is to just write a few lines of code that's functional and then test it. Test it really, really well, see if it works. Then write a few more lines of code that do something. And be super, super hyper iterative like that, just incrementally building your code. Don't work for half an hour and then test your code. You're full of bugs. Just write a few lines and see if it works. That's how you make super solid code.
Which skills a developer have to make it in the game industry?
You have to really want to make games because it's hard to finish a game. And it's
easy to start, but it's impossible to finish.
And it's a lot of hours too. No matter what part of games you're making, it's going to be way more hours than you ever thought. So you have to be prepared to be focused for a long time.
I've heard that developers should have more soft skills than before. Is it true?
Well, yeah, because now there's a lot of people on teams. And so when you're on teams, you have to be nice to other people.
To communicate, to have some professional way.
You got to get used to communicating. Programmers don't want to communicate; they just want to code. So it's important to limit the times that you're taking people away from code to short amounts of time for communication. But like nowadays, why not use Slack? Communicate through Slack. It's quick. It's faster than taking off your headphones and getting up and talking to someone and coming back and all that stuff. So we do that all the time.
Yeah, people in one room communicate just via messengers.
Yeah, if they have headphones. Yeah.
And which soft skills do you think are more important now?
I think communication's more important than anything. It always has been. If other people don't know what you're doing or you don't know what other people are doing, you can just waste a ton of time and money because you just did the wrong thing. So communication's more important than anything else that you can possibly do. Everyone needs to know what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. So even when you're going to program something, the way that you're going to write it is good to communicate, not just, yeah, I'll do that. It should be like,
see you in 1 week.
yeah, nothing like that. It should be, I'm going to do that and I'm going to do it like this. Does that sound okay?
So communication on every stage of development.
Yes.
Is the main. A few months ago, I spoke with Richard Gray in Moscow, and he said that one of the best strategies for a developer to get in game development is to show something you made by your own.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I heard that you said that even making Doom-like levels in Sigil is a real technical challenge today. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that today's instruments are too complicated to make something just for portfolio? Where is the perfect balance here?
Well, in today's engines, it does take a ton of time to make levels. Making levels is not as easy as it used to be. It's now, it now just takes a lot of time. There's like so many people involved in just making a level nowadays. You have people that you have artists that just light levels, and you have game designers blocking them out. You have artists doing art. You have them doing set dressing to make them look really good, to make sure the shaders are right.
I think now it's impossible to make level for just a portfolio. It's very hard to do.
Well, you can, but it takes a really long time. Like there's a great example on YouTube. If you're using Unreal and you want to learn what the pipeline is to create just a level, and you want to do it by yourself, there's a tutorial, a guy, probably, I think it's a 30-minute tutorial, and he shows how he made a hallway in 10 hours.
10 hours, it's
and he did it
quick.
And it's recorded in 30 minutes, it's recorded at super high speed, so you can see all the stuff he's doing in just a hallway. 10 hours. Now, games take a long time.
And what do you think is the best strategy for a developer to get into game dev?
The best strategy is to learn as much stuff as you can at home. You know, like you can go to school and learn stuff, which is great. It'll give you cred, you know, you get a diploma and all that. But you're gonna learn a lot more doing your stuff at home. You go faster, you'll learn exactly what you want to learn.
You know, some people say that young programmers who use frameworks don't have even a clue to understand how it is work inside.
Right.
Does it really matter today to understand what is inside, or frameworks is okay?
Yes, it does. It's helpful. Say junior programmers will know frameworks. Expert programmers will know how to build frameworks, which means they know how to build the frameworks. They know everything all the way down to the bottom, right? And that's super helpful because you can use a framework in a very inefficient way, not knowing how it actually runs underneath, and make something run very slow.
Flexibility. You can combine frameworks if you understand.
You need to glue things together to make stuff work, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be performant. That doesn't mean that you understand what's going on underneath the hood, especially when you're talking about databases. You can write code for databases that is horrible, and you think it's okay because you know these are the commands, but like if you don't know how InnoDB runs and how it works under the hood,
it can be
forget it. You need to hire, you need a consultant to come in and straighten out everything.
Another thing is agile. In books and articles, game dev is full of romantic and unpredictability. Is this exactly what we need for agile? Agile, or maybe some other approaches?
Only agile.
All agile.
Yeah, but not strict agile, not Scrum agile. We do have milestones on specific times, and you know, we get stuff ready. It's a nice long period of time. It's like 3 times what agile is. It's like 6 weeks instead of 2. So it's a nice period of time that we can get a lot done in. And it's kind of Kanban style as well, maybe, because it doesn't all have to get done in 6 weeks, because there's stuff that's in process still. So that just won't get done, but we'll just turn in something that has a lot of stuff done. And the stuff that's halfway done, we'll get finished on the next milestone. So it's more about coming up with a feature list and then trying to deliver that feature list at the end of those 6 weeks. And if you make it, you know, you make it. And if you don't, then those things go on to the next one, you know. And what it turns into is just a rescoping exercise. If it gets too long, you take something out, or you do it differently. You know, you redesign it to make it easier to get finished, or you drop it all together if it's going to take too long.
So not only agile, you need to understand how it works and combine with other approaches, maybe.
Yeah.
And can you compare how work processes are organized in game studios now, or back in 1990s or 2000s?
I guess it depends on how many people. Like, it's always dependent on how many people are on the team. Even today, if you had a really small 4-person team, you'd probably be developing the way that you would back in 1990 with a 4-person team. Because it's so small, everybody understands what they have to do, They all communicate very tightly because they're in the same room, probably.
So in RUVDS and in my company, we have a small team, so we don't need a jail.
Yeah.
It's impossible to
you don't need
this approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. And that's the same thing back in 1990. Like you just what you're writing changes because of the platform, but how you discuss it and develop it is the same. You know, the design that you put into it is different nowadays because design language has evolved, you know, since the 80s. So what you're designing is different, but the way that you build things is pretty much similar.
Do you think the game development is becoming easier or harder over time, and why?
There's a lot of tools out there that make making games easier for people. What's harder is coming up with good game design. It's hard to come up with a really good game idea. You know, you can have the best programmer in the world write a garbage game and no one will want to play that game. It doesn't matter how good that programmer is.
So game design now is the first.
It's the first thing. If you have someone who has an amazing game design that is proficient, at least in programming, you have a brand new genre probably. You know, you get an amazing game. So it's the design that matters more than anything.
But in game dev, the opposite situation. The instruments for game dev are becoming more and more
Yeah, they're easy.
Easier.
Well, they're easy to use. It's easier than making it yourself. Have you ever tried programming? You know,
Let me try to be
like Unity. If you follow a Unity tutorial, it's really easy. It's dragging and dropping and just typing some stuff in. It's much easier than trying to make stuff yourself.
Getting back to tech train, where does the train drive game industry?
Well, I'd say, you know, in gaming, AR is a really exciting new segment. That AR, augmented reality, yeah. It's a cool new area. You know, there's money there. Not as much money as there was in VR when everybody was throwing their money in VR.
But VR doesn't blast out.
No, VR is not going to. You know, VR is it's better at non-game applications, right? And there are some cool VR things, but it's really what it comes down to with VR and gaming is the fatigue. Fatigue is too high when people play games. It's like people are not jumping on their Wii pads anymore. They're just tired out. They know they don't want to do that anymore. And VR is just as hard to use.
It's just one-day toy.
Yeah.
I do have experience in augmented reality or VR gaming.
I haven't done any AR stuff. But I really like the possibilities. I mean, if you pay attention to the Lego games and the Minecraft Earth stuff, there's a lot of really cool stuff in AR, and everybody's experimenting, and it's something that people have taken to. Pokemon Go proved to everybody that there's tons of money in AR. So it's definitely a segment. It's not replacing consoles. It's not replacing mobile. It's not replacing anything. It's just another thing.
It seems like everyone understands the possibilities, but don't know how to use it.
Well, there's APIs for using it. So Apple has created ARKit, you know, which is amazing. Like, they didn't make VRKit for a reason. They made ARKit because they know it's going to work. So that's helpful, right? So ARKit coupled with Swift 5, you can make really cool stuff.
And what do you think about mobile gaming?
Well, Sigil's on smartphones. People have already got Sigil running on so many things. I get so many, you know, on Instagram and Twitter, there are so many devices that Sigil's running on. People send screenshots of it.
But they do it like by themselves, yes? But there is not a product for smartphones.
There's, well, for Android there is. There's like, you can get Doom that runs mods. Just like you can play Sigil on an Xbox. You can use Otomex, which is like an open source Doom that'll run mods, and you can put Sigil on your Xbox and you can run Sigil on it.
Yeah, but do you ever imagine of making Battle Royale game in Doom universe? Maybe something like Fortnite?
I think it'd be cool, you know. I wouldn't do it, but I think that it would be really, I would play it if somebody else did
it. Good idea.
Yeah. I mean, Battle Royale is just a framework rule set kind of thing on top of any game. You know, I mean, look at Fortnite. That was not a Battle Royale game. You know, they turned it into one when they saw PUBG, you know, taking all the money. So you can put that on top of anything, you know, but games that are made for it, made specifically for Battle Royale, are the ones that are going to, you know, do better. I mean, there's more Battle Royale games coming out that are experimenting with other kinds of gameplay while you're playing to get resources and to do stuff like mining. You're mining for stuff while the circle's closing in, you know, and people are shooting at you while you're mining stuff that you need to mine to get the stuff.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah.
What do you think? Which gaming genres will prevail in the future?
So far, I think all of them. I mean, they're the only genre that kind of went away was like text-based adventures, but there's still adventure games. There's still like, if you look at adventure, it's turned into like mystery adventure games. Hidden object games are huge. If you pay attention to everywhere that games are being sold, especially mobile, you'll see that the diversity of games is massive. And like when people thought that adventure or whatever was dead forever, you know, dead in the 90s or 2000s, they just need to go on the other side of the software rack to see all the adventures and stuff that were being sold to women in their 40s that like playing that stuff, you know. So the gaming market is not just the 18 to 25 or 35, it's everybody. And
but now it seems like strategy games are not so popular as before. So some genres will disappear, I think.
Oh, it's not going to disappear. No, there's a lot of strategy games. I mean, we're making a strategy game because it's like hot, and it is. There are companies like Paradox Interactive that have their own niche. They have extremely hardcore players that love their games because of the way that they're made, the information that's in them, and how hard they are, and you know, like they will survive. Like people love playing Age of Empires. Definitive Edition was just released a few days ago.
Yeah,
and that's a game from 1998, I think. You know, I mean, the strategy
it is
game.
one of my favorite strategies.
Yeah, it's not going away. It's an RTS. I mean, it's still Civ. You know, like this, all that stuff is still around. They keep on making them.
What is your key to make a successful game? Is using top technology matters here?
Well, it helps. Really good technology helps, but a really amazing game design is
Game
the reason why
design,
people
yes.
are playing it. They're not playing it because of the engine. Do you go play a game because it's made in Unreal? You don't. You play a game because of the design and the idea and what it looks like and what it's about and what you can do in it. Like, that's all design stuff.
What are your favorite game development instruments for now and for all career? Do you have maybe a few big fucking guns here?
Oh, you mean guns?
No, what are your favorite? I compare game dev instruments with BFG from Doom.
So, like, what are the best tools to make games?
Best tools to make games.
For just workflow, productivity stuff, Slack is awesome. We use Assembla for doing ticketing in stuff, but Jira is really great. We use Perforce for source control because it's really, really fast. Those are the main things that we use for everybody. And then on the art side, Photoshop, Maya, you know, Sync Sketch is a cool tool that they use, the artists use. Shotgun is really great for art workflow. And the code side, we basically use Unity, and we're using VS Code on both Mac and PC to edit code. That's pretty much it, you know, for design is spreadsheets. So we use Google Sheets a lot, and we have our tools read from Google Sheets on the internet and pull the data back into the game. Yeah, so that's basically, you know, Google stuff, Google presentations for all of our design docs, and Google Sheets for all of our data, you know, for a game. It doesn't matter what it is, loot drop systems or whatever.
I think everyone wants to know what are top must-play games according to John Romero.
Hitman 2.
Hitman, you said?
Hitman 2.
This is one of my favorite games.
Unbelievable.
When you said about some people who want games harder, I thought about Hitman because it has a small niche of maniacs who want
all those challenges
to make difficulty level
the mastery and the challenges and all that stuff.
Very good.
Yeah, I love it.
I passed all Hitmans.
Nice. Yeah, I've beaten all of the previous ones, but when they reinvented it in 2016, they completely just created the best design ever, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward for Ghost Recon Breakpoint a lot. It's like, I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. I love Ghost Recon. I love the original one. I wasn't a fan of Gra, but I know that I played a little bit of this new one, and I just can't wait.
You know, some games today, they're very good games, but they're too complicated to play them just after work.
Yeah.
You're too bored to understand
you want to play
all the difficult mechanisms.
Yeah, you're like, I have to get back into it, but I mean, World of Warcraft is like that too.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of quests, there's a lot of personal motivation, like what do you want to do in the game, and like it's something that you have to just like really focus on. And if you don't want to focus on things like that, you play different games that don't require that. And indie games are perfect for that, because indie games are now just a few hours long. You know, Firewatch and What Remains of Edith Finch and stuff. You know, those are like very short-term games, and
Hitman
like,
is also short-term.
Yeah, Hitman is like, especially if you know Hitman, and you're like, I just want to try that one challenge.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to beat the whole mission.
You know, just a few hours.
Yeah.
So your top games are Hitman, Ghost Recon, and the third one maybe.
And indie games, basically, just tons of indie games.
Have a bunch of professional developers as an audience of our interview.
All right.
Please look at the camera and share your inspiration.
Geez, well, my inspiration, Pac-Man is the reason why I got into games, because the design of Pac-Man when it came out in 1980 was unlike everything that was out at the time. Everything in 1980 was shoot the alien, black and white. Sound was not exciting, and when Pac-Man came out, it just changed everything. It was just this non-violent, runaway, completist design that was just unbelievable, and it really showed me that, you know, game design is just bottomless. There's just so much there. So that got me wanting to make games.
Good advice will also be fine for those who want to enter game development.
Come up with games that are small in scope. Don't try to make anything big at the very beginning. Do a small game design and then just try to make the whole thing and finish it. You'll learn how hard it is to finish, and you'll keep your scope down after that.
In Russian Wikipedia, your name is John Romero, but I read that your first name is Alfonso. Yes. And why do you follow the name John? Because
in my house, my dad's name was Alfonso as well. And so if you said Al, we would both be answering. So my mom decided to call me John because my dad was already Al.
Okay.
So he went by John.
So it is from childhood?
It's from childhood. So my mom has called me Johnny.
Okay. Thank you for the interview. We'll be glad to see you again in Russia.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, more tech trains.
In our office of RUVDS team also. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. It is my first interview with key persons from game dev.
All right.
We speak with Richard Gray.
Okay, yeah, Level Lord.
Russia, so,
he's in St. Petersburg actually.
Yeah,
right?
and we talked with Randy
Pitchford. Yeah. I have another friend that's here. He's art director at an art outsource studio that's in St. Petersburg.
And he lives in St. Petersburg.
He lives in St. Petersburg, yeah.
We should speak to him.
His name's Craig Rundle. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come here, because usually, especially if it's St. Petersburg and he lives here, he'd want to come by. He might not know.
Living in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, he's been living for years here. Yeah, for a while. Not as long as Richard, but 5 years, something like that.
What make Americans go to live Russia? They find it more dynamic, more crazy, or what?
Well, I think that with Craig, he was familiar with Russians. He was married to a Russian before, and he'd spent time in Russia before. So he got divorced, and then he had the opportunity to be the lead art director at a Russian art studio. So why not? So he likes Russia.
After divorce, he stayed here.
He'd been in the United States for a long time, but then he decided to come back here because he's used to Russia, you know.